Hello.
Howdy, good sir. Attorney Walter Hnot. I'm live on YouTube, and I see you had a couple questions for me. Make sure you use a fake name, but walk me through what are the questions.
Okay. You need me to state my name?
Well, use a fake name for the purposes of this.
Yes. All right. This is James Rivers.
Excellent. So, good sir, walk me through give me the structure, the timeline as to what happened, where you're at now, and what are the questions relevant to it?
Okay. I first applied for SSDI back in January of 18. I was, of course, denied the first time, and then my attorney did the appeal. For the second time, I was denied again. And he set up for a hearing, which took a long time to get the hearing. I just had the hearing actually last Thursday. And in this time, it was actually done over the phone. It wasn't a video. It was actually a telephone conversation.
Gotcha.
And what he surmised, or what I surmised from it, it doesn't happen very often, but he actually went ahead and okayed me on the spot after he went through everything, the disability and things like that I had. And the last thing he said was he didn't understand why I didn't apply for Social Security disability in 2008 when my illness started, which I didn't. He said if you'd have filed back in 2008, you would have won. So he had no qualms about going ahead and granting my full disability back to my application date was January 4th. I think it's 2018, but he moved my onset date back to August of 17. I'm wondering, my big thing was on my back payments. I'm wondering, my big thing was on my back payments.
Okay, so in your case, we're looking at a situation where the adjudicator, the judge, wanted to approve farther back in time than your actual protective filing date. We call it PFD. So what they were looking at is, what are we going to do with your AOD, which is your alleged onset date? And the judge then amended your alleged onset date, and it sounds like, way farther back than when you initially filed. Is that correct?
About 5 months before I initially filed. That's when I actually got off of work, was August 1st of 17. But I did not apply for benefits until January.
Okay.
So he backed it up to when I stopped working.
Okay. So here's what the judge is doing. As part of Social Security disability insurance, when you calculate back pay or retroactive benefits and back pay, the first 5 months of SSDI benefits do not count. The first 5 months of SSDI benefits do not count for calculations, which means nobody gets paid any money from the first 5 months in which you file for SSDI benefits. What the judge did was he looked to your job and he picked the month after it could go either way, but he picked the month after the month you last earned, and I'll rephrase it in another way, that's how the SSA puts it. That's the month after the month you last earned above SGA. So he picked a month in which you didn't earn much, or a month that was directly after the last month you worked. So were you working in that month that he picked or she picked?
No, the month before, August 1st, like I say, August 1st was my last day working. So that's when he put my onset date. But I did work on every month up to that.
Okay. So how many days did you work in August again?
August 1st was it. That was my last day. That's when I wound up in the hospital.
Okay. So just to be sure, he picked the month after August.
Yes.
All right. So here's something you want to fix. You want the month that is basically the last month that you didn't work much, or the month after the month you last worked. So you should actually have your attorney request from the judge that the month be changed to that month in which you only worked one day, which you really didn't even work one day, right?
No.
Okay, cool. So that would be the month after the month in which you really worked. So what that means is that basically you want to grab that month. Now, I want to walk you through how the judge was able to go farther back than your PFD, your protective filing date.
Okay.
So in Social Security disability law, a lot of people don't realize that there are these things called retroactive benefits. So imagine in your head that there is a timeline, right, from left to right. On the left side of the timeline are retroactive benefits. In the middle of the timeline are back pay benefits. And on the right side of the timeline, into the future, are forward pay benefits. So we've got retroactive benefits, back pay benefits, forward pay benefits. Now, what are forward pay benefits? Forward pay benefits are from the month you basically, are found disabled, going forward, you get a check every month. That's forward pay benefits, right? You get a check every month, forward pay benefits, that's easy. Back pay benefits, those are the benefits you're due when you're found disabled from the moment you filed to the moment you're found disabled. So from the moment you filed to the moment you're found disabled, that's back pay. Once you're found disabled, that's forward pay. Okay?
Okay.
Before you file, up to 17 months, right? Up to 17 months before you file, you can claim a total of 17 months worth of retroactive benefits. Okay?
Okay.
Now, why is that? It's because you can claim up to a year prior plus the 5 months that don't count, which is 12 plus 5 for all of you math guys out there. So what that means is that basically the judge is tapping into retroactive benefits that are available as part of the SSDI program. Retroactive benefits aren't available for SSI. So since you're a worker, you've worked, you get to go on SSDI because you have enough cores of coverage. So he's tapping into 5, but it really should be 6 months going back in time.
Okay.
That means that he's basically getting rid of those months.
Okay. All right. So since I filed, January 4th of 2019, my more or less my back pay is going to be from January 4th till last Thursday.
Well, yeah, but keep in mind, you do not count the month you're found disabled for SSDI and SSI benefits. So for SSDI benefits, you don't count 5 months plus the month you're found disabled, total of 6. For SSI, you don't count the month that you file or the month that you're found disabled, totaling 2 months. So in your particular case, you would count basically. Now, here's the thing. In Fix It, you'll count January and you'll count December of the prior year of 2018. But for what it stands right now, you're looking at January all the way through December 2019, plus, you were found disabled in May, plus, January, February, March, April of 2020.
Okay. So 16 months.
Right. And do you know how your attorney's fees are calculated based upon all that?
Well, he called me immediately after the hearing, and I asked him how he gets paid, and he said it automatically comes out of the back payments.
Okay.
He said if the back payments, the maximum he would get would be $6,000. If my back payments were less than $6,000, I think it was 25%. But he said the maximum he would automatically be taken out of my back payments in the check for $6,000 would be sent to him, and the rest would be deposited into my account.
Does that make sense?
Okay.
Well, no, I'm asking you, does that make sense to you? Because I can go into more detail.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I first repaid his services, I asked him about the fee, and this has been 18 months ago, and his words had not changed. He said his fee is $6,000, but that is paid by Social Security. The one thing he did bring up was, I can't remember what he called it, like fees.
Costs. Costs.
Are counted for cost of medical reports and things like that.
All right, so let me give you a little walk through how that actually works, and I'm going to explain a little bit more how attorney's fees actually work. First thing, there's two fees that basically happen. There's the cost associated with the law firm working on it. So when we buy your records all right, so one thing you need to know about is this. I, as a law firm, don't charge a lot of costs because I don't have a whole group of people just sitting there trying to figure out how much they're going to get out of a claimant for costs. Some attorneys charge traveling costs. Some attorneys charge meeting costs. Some attorneys charge all these things. I only charge for buying your records. Whatever they charge me is what you end up paying for your records. So that's kind of the thing. Now, you're going to find out what his costs were. Hopefully, they won't be too big, too bad. But they're usually anywhere from like $50, could be a little less, 17, 18, whatever, up to a couple of $100 to actually buy your records. Okay. So that's how that works. Costs are basically associated with whatever costs he had to put out to go ahead and win your claim. He gets to recoup those in the future from you. So once you get your benefits, you write him a check. Okay. How do... Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Now, I was quite anal about every time I went to the doctors, I would actually wait until they were done with their summaries, and they would give me copies of everything that they were going to send the attorney. And I physically would take them to the attorneys, and they would scan them into my file. The only one that they had problems with was actually, I had an appointment the week before my hearing, and when they called for the records, they weren't going to be able to get it there in time before the hearing, and that's the one that he said was over and above his for records to get there on time. I don't know how he figured it or got them to get the records and fax them to him, but it was 16 pages from my surgeon, and he wanted to get it, but the normal 2-week turnaround for them to send it, he was pushing them on that limit. I don't know if he had them work overtime or what, but he said that the fees for that were substantially more than normal for that one deal.
For the doctor to produce the records, or for him to buy the records?
That for him to get the records, or however they send them electronically. And that was one, since it was such a lengthy appointment, I didn't stay to get the record, and which, like I say, I usually took the records directly to his office, and he would scan them in. That's the only record that they didn't have, was that 16 pages before my hearing.
And the 16 pages were too expensive for him to buy?
It was more than the normal amount. Let's say it's $2 a page or whatever, and if he wanted them next day, it was going to be $5 a page.
Which is federally legal. They can only charge up to $1 per page. Now, here's the guys. Yeah. I don't know if you guys know this, but I just want to point something out. Every attorney that owns a firm has a thing that they're battling with, right? They have a big war, a big battle, a big thing that they're all about. My big thing that I'm all about is fighting giant third-party providers of medical documentation, PHI, protected health information, that basically, is provided to us, attorneys, doctors, insurance agents, whatever, when we try to buy records on behalf of somebody. And what happened was, Ciox, $1 million, zillion dollar, $1 billion, whatever company, went head to head with HHS, and they beat HHS. They embarrassed HHS. In fact, it was so much so to that point that basically Health and Human Services, the judge gave them an opportunity that they would never give to somebody like me to just go back, rebrief things, and figure out what the heck their actual position was on it, which was not good for HHS. It looks bad, all those things. But the bottom line is HHS wanted to do this incredibly admirable thing, which was to make it so that attorneys, third parties, people buying records on behalf of other people, could go ahead and buy records at what's called the patient rate, as opposed to the third party rate. The patient rate is like, a super cheap rate. It's like $6.50 for 500 pages. It's super cheap. Yeah, it's super cheap. As opposed to the patient or the third party rate, which is $1 per page, which is then $500 plus $25 shipping plus $5 to $15 of handling and tax on top of that. Now we're at $550 for 500 pages. Either way, good sir, there is no way, and I hate doing this because it makes somebody look bad, but there is no way at all that 16 pages were $5 a page or were too costly. Now, it could have been one of those deals where they were charging him a fee on top of it, like $50 to get them prepped, but that's like pick it up the next day stuff. And if he was 2 weeks out, why would he have to pick it up the next day? He could just pick it up later down the line. So there's an issue there. Whatever, you were found disabled, it doesn't matter. But the bottom line is that's something happened there. Okay. Next thing.
That was, was actually, my hearing was on Thursday, and I went to the doctor, the surgeon, the Friday before, and of course the weekend happened. He asks for the record, and he couldn't get it in time for the hearing.
Okay, gotcha.
Without doing this processing, whatever processing he had to do to get the record.
Okay, gotcha.
So,
okay.
I'm not concerned over however much it costs for the 16 pages, because he is an excellent attorney. He did get my case to a hearing, but the telephone hearing was just amazing. When the judge came, he explained, I'm at home. I have children. And right about when he said that, one of them ran in the room.
Right.
So he had to put it on pause. So he took care of his child, and he came back and apologized. On the line, the vocational expert and the court reporter, my attorney, and the judge and myself.
Gotcha.
So it was quite different, but during the times they got everything shut down.
Gotcha.
But that was my main question about how far back they go.
Okay.
And I knew about the 5 months was cut off, but in the reading and things that I have looked into, I thought they only did back pay for 12 months.
No. Back pay is based on the moment you file until you're found disabled. For SSDI, you don't count the first 5 months, and the month you're found disabled. For SSI, you don't count the first month or the last month in which you're found disabled.
Okay. One other question. I know I've taken up a lot of your time.
Yeah, go for it. You're good.
When he said that he would be looking for my letter in the mail, my approval letter, since he moved my onset or alleged onset date back to August of 17, will that appear on that letter?
Yes.
My disability began on the 17th August 1st.
So here's how it works. There's 3 flavors of letters that you receive. Unfavorable, which you won't get. Partially favorable, which means they're moving your alleged onset date. And fully favorable, which means they're using the alleged onset date that you chose. Partially favorable is what you're likely to get. And here's the thing. Your judge or your attorney can go ahead and submit to the judge ahead of time or after the hearing that you, and there's a couple of things that have to be in it, that you, the claimant, have agreed to change the alleged onset date to that date, even though you should change it to the month in which you only have 1 day of work in which it wasn't even work. and that you fully understand the ramifications of that change or that choice. So if it has the ramification clause and also has that you want that change, then he can just submit that, and then the judge will do what's considered a fully favorable. Now, with that said, tomorrow call your attorney and say, hey, a little birdie tweeted in my ear that since I only worked 1 day that month, I could potentially get it back 1 more month to be able to get another month of back pay, which your attorney will be like, yeah, super cool idea, because this is how your attorney gets paid. The attorney gets paid from each month that you get paid for waiting to be found disabled, in which case you were actually found disabled. Your attorney gets 25% of each one of those months, up to $6K. Now, let's say that you got a denial at the ALJ hearing and had to go to appeals counsel. At appeals counsel, it's similar, but there's no $6K limitation. So it's just 25% of whatever months were there that you had to wait. Okay. So basically, keeping it simple, let's go back to this whole 25% gig. So attorneys traditionally make 33%, or if they have to take it to a hearing, they make 40%. In disability law, it's only 25% by statute, which means that he can make 25% of each one of those months up to $6,000. And the SSA holds onto those funds from your back pay benefits, and then he pays a fee to them, usually around $90. And that $90 is the disbursement fee for basically the SSA at the local field office or payment facility to go ahead and disperse the funds to your attorney. So he'll realistically make like $5,910 or whatever instead of the full $6,000. And then here's the best part: the government, and I don't know how the hell they screwed this up. Makes us, the attorneys, pay the full $6K amount, even though we don't get paid, or we don't receive like $90 of that $6K. We still got to pay taxes on it. I don't know why that is. I don't know. I have to fix that at some point. One of these days, I'm going to fix that. But we're paying for money we never even received. So,
No, that's not right. In anybody's eyes, I don't see who would think that would be right.
Yeah, I agree. It's not like eBay, which they take 80%. No, I don't even know what eBay takes. But, all right. So, good sir. Do you have any other questions for me before I take on one more call?
Okay, I'll let you take the guy. I did have another question, but I don't know if you would be able to answer it or not. But the reason I'm asking, if at job I had short-term disability, I do not, which I got paid 50%. I do not have to pay that back. I've already talked to the company. My question, or the reason I wanted to know if it went back to August, the only thing that I have to pay my long-term disability, I started drawing long-term disability in June of 19. And they said anything after that is dated after June, I would have to pay back my long-term disability. So if my disability actually states that it started in August, I would only owe my long-term disability back pay a month or two.
Well, then you run into the question of, did you actually receive funds for that month? And you're going to have to see what your final letter states, because remember, you have to pay back those months of LTD in which you receive Social Security disability benefits, because it's an offset procedure. So STD works a little bit differently than LTD. LTD, it's one of those situations where you're going to have to owe them back. You're going to have to pay them back if you're receiving disability benefits. That's why those LTD carriers will keep calling you saying, hey, where are you at with the disability process? What's happened? Yada, yada, yada. So a lot of your back pay is going to get sucked up into paying back the LTD claim. For sure. Yes, correct.
Now, if it works out that it does start in the letter states December, I don't have to pay the long term back for January, February, March, April, May, and June, because I wasn't receiving long term at that point. In July is when I started my long term disability pay.
Yes, you're looking for overlapping months. That's basically it. Overlapping months where you actually did receive payments. because the whole thing is they're LTD carriers are expecting to receive payments for those months in which you're receiving an alternative form of disability insurance payments to you. So in this case, they'd be looking at every month that you actually received payments, and what they're going to get from you is the letter, that's your accounting letter that goes through, okay, for these months we paid you this amount, for these months we paid you this amount, yada, yada, yada. They're going to get from you that and then expect to be repaid for those months in which you were paid. SSDI.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That I knew, but I'm glad you clarified it.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, I thank you very much. I do watch your channel. I really enjoy your hearings, and some people on there get it and some people don't.
Very true.
And that's why I enjoy watching it. But you've been a great help. I've watched all 51 of your trick questions. Excuse me. You had videos of 50, and then you added the one in.
Yes.
And of the 51 questions, I was asked 7 of them.
Oh, wow. Good. Jeez. 7 trick questions. Oh, my goodness. You had a judge, didn't you? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, he was at home. He didn't have nothing better to do.
Yeah, that's,
I watched your all 51 videos the day before. I watched them as you were putting them out, which seemed like two days. You looked very tired. But I watched it the day before the hearing, and I remember 7 different questions that he asked that you told me the answer to.
Wow, that's incredible. I'm so glad, because I do these things, and this whole thing started way back in the day. I did these types of things at libraries. I did them at homeless help feeding events, and I was explaining to people how this stuff worked, and it wasn't really doing anything going to a larger population. Not that my channel is really that big, but I'm just really glad that's helping people. So real quick, what state are you in?
Kentucky.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Because think about it, I'm in Florida. We get all kinds of people calling, and I will say this though, it is interesting. I helped somebody from Guam the other day. A year ago, I helped somebody get through a tricky Puerto Rico versus Virgin Islands law issue pertaining to disability benefits because of the intertwining of national law and international law. So it's just been a really cool experience. But I'm so happy that those videos were helpful. A video that I'm going to be one reasons or things that you need to know as somebody who's going to be going boating for the first time. And the reason for this is that when I started boating, I bought basically a really fast jet boat, which I ran into a concrete wall and then had to pay a kid to delete the video from his phone so it wouldn't end up on YouTube. So yeah. And I mean, I've made every mistake. Like when I took that thing out for the first time, it was sinking. I didn't have a line, which is a rope to tie it off to the cleat on the dock. So I did everything wrong. But basically, yeah, good sir. Well, I'm glad this helped you.
All right, man. Well, I really appreciate it, and keep up the good work.
Thank you, good sir. Have a wonderful evening.
You too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.